Lately, especially with the new year starting, and this wasn't even like a big goal or resolution of mine, but I've been focusing so much more on being intentional with everything that I do on like a daily basis. And I feel like it's something that's so important and we need to talk about because I don't know if people really talk about this. In my opinion, oftentimes I think a good day starts with the night before. That's not to say that you can't have a good day if you don't have like a perfect night before, you know? But I am a huge fan of like brain dumping at night and planning out my day so that I wake up with a plan. I know exactly what I want to do and I don't have time to sit there and just like waste with doing stupid tasks that don't serve me. Morning routines are such a like internet hyped kind of cliche thing, but they are really so important. You hear so much about how like your morning does kind of predict the rest of your day. However, I don't think you need a 50-step morning routine to set yourself up for success, have a good day. And not everyone is a morning person, I get that, but if you just focus on a few small things that you like to do, you enjoy, and you want to do first thing when you wake up before you actually start the day, I feel like it can make a big difference. I'm a big fan of exercising for like mental health. I truly feel like after I work out, it gets my creative juices flowing, like it just puts my mind at ease, like it's so good for me. But I like to work out at night. So lately I have been trying to get more movement in the morning, usually just like a walk, like not a rigorous, crazy, intense workout. I'm not someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. and runs to the gym. I just don't have that in me. One day I would love it if I could get there. However, being able to get that right away done in the morning, it makes me feel accomplished and it's so good for my brain and my body. However, I feel like as the day goes on, it gets easier and easier to slip into doing things that are time wasters, that don't serve you, just like mindless, dumb little tasks that you know you don't need and that may not be good for you. But you just do it without thinking because it's a habit. I used to be so bad with mindless scrolling on both Instagram and TikTok, but I actually haven't done that in like a month. I've learned how to kind of cut it out of my daily routine. Look, I know social media is entertaining, right? It's not all bad. It's not completely, it kind of is what you make it and who you follow. You play a part in how you want it to be for yourself. It really can be great, but my point is I was one, wasting time on Instagram seeing the same posts, and two, every time I go on my For You page on TikTok, I just start scrolling and I start comparing myself, and that's not good for anyone. Yes, I still use these apps. Number one, I'm human. Number two, I post on there. However, I think I use them like a little bit with more intention, and I'm specifically talking about these because I think these were really big time wasters in my life, but this can relate to other things as well, like anything that doesn't serve you. Right now, you may know I am doing 75 Hard, and the book I'm reading is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I know it's super popular, it's not new, but it is really great. He talks so much about how achieving goals isn't about what you want to achieve, but it's about who you want to become. And thinking about it this way, like, just puts so many things in perspective. I know that mindless scrolling isn't a characteristic of who I want to be. So I think what's really important is to think about, okay, who is that person that I want to be? What do they do? What don't they do? And then you need to identify the things in your life, like, okay, what on a daily basis do I do that isn't serving me, that's maybe is bad for me? Just anything in your day-to-day life that seems like a waste of time and doesn't align with like being intentional with your tasks. Again, my example specifically with TikTok, whenever I would go to my For You page, I found myself just comparing me to every single person I saw, whether it was I don't look as pretty as her, I'm not as funny as her, my body's not as good as hers, just this entire thing that I just like know wasn't good for me. And again, that's my own problem. Like the videos I was coming across, like their intention is not for me to do that. That is my own problem. But if that's how I go about scrolling down my For You page, that's a sign that that's something I need to cut out because number one, it's bad for me. Number two, it's not serving me. And number three, it's not a characteristic of the person I want to be. It's not intentional. It's not useful of my time. Being intentional is just using your time wisely. But then when you get good about knowing like what's not being intentional, what's not using your time wisely, it's a lot easier to catch yourself in the act. For example, I would open TikTok, like then I would catch myself and realize like, okay, number one, Morgan, this isn't gonna make you feel good. Number two, you're gonna waste time and then you're gonna feel overwhelmed because you're gonna be behind on what you're trying to get done. And number three, this is not getting you anywhere. What are you accomplishing by doing this? And again, I'm not telling you to like never go on TikTok. This is just my personal example because I wasn't using it in a beneficial way. If you come home from a long day at work and you just wanna mindlessly scroll for a half an hour, like do it. Like if you just want to use it for pure entertainment, like by all means, like go do it. And I still will go on TikTok, but it's rare that I scroll down my For You page. Usually I only go on my following tab. I like to catch up with the people I follow because I follow them for a reason. But if I ever like get back in the habit of just like opening up the app and I catch myself in those feelings, I'm like, wait, what's going on? I just immediately close out the app and I look at my to-do list and I'm like, okay, what's my next task of the day? What can I start right now? If you just get one simple thing done to get your mind away from it and then get back on track, I think it's so important and makes me feel so much better and so much more intentional about what I'm doing throughout my day. I feel like I got to a point where I was just sick of wasting time because I don't like to feel stuck. I feel like when I'm wasting time, I feel stuck and I feel like I'm not going anywhere and it just makes me feel terrible. But having the self-awareness to like analyze what you do and how you can change things to be more intentional throughout your day is great. And again, don't think that you need to be productive every second of the day because that's also not what I'm saying. A big part of this actually is using rest time as rest time, is not using rest time as TikTok time. I feel like it's so good to also be intentional with your rest. You can only actually reach your potential if your body's charged. You know, you have to rest. You have to give yourself breaks. I think breaks are underestimated, and I think oftentimes breaks as perceived as like someone being lazy. I don't know if this made any sense. I like typed all of my thoughts out and it made so much more sense in my head than when I was saying them. So I hope you can relate and I hope you found any value from this. 2023 is the year of intentions, being intentional, doing things that provide you value, stop doing things that don't. So let that sink in, but we're gonna continue on with our day. It's been a great morning. Put a little makeup on so that I feel a little more put together, you know, made coffee. An iced coffee is very good, it's very like cinnamony. But anyways, I have also been more intentional with my workouts. Okay, not that I wasn't before, but I'm trying to get more into like strength, and I don't have a gym membership, right? So I do a lot at home. So today we are running to Target and I'm gonna pick up weights if they have some there. I was comparing prices from Target versus like ordering some off Amazon, but Amazon's more expensive probably because shipping weights is a pain. Having fun going to Target, because who doesn't love Target runs, but also doing something with purpose, right? You can still have fun. I'm not saying you need to grind 24/7. I'm just trying not to like be stupid with my time. I'm so out of breath. I didn't grab a cart because sometimes I just like to make things as hard as possible for myself. I don't know what I was thinking. In my head I was like, oh, I'm not grabbing a lot of things. I don't need a cart, even though I was grabbing one thing that was a lot of weight. It just didn't occur to me. And while I was walking, my sunglasses fell off my head. So I'd like set the thing down, pick up my sunglasses, bend all the way to the floor, like carry it up. Like keep in mind, there's 32 total pounds of weight, if I did that quick math right, plus the holder, plus the box and the packaging. That's a heavy package to carry all throughout Target. But you know, I just made it into a little workout for myself apparently. However, I got to the checkout, apparently it was on sale. I didn't know that. It was on sale for $39.99, regular $49.99. Plus if you have a red card, you get 5% off, which basically in my head like eliminates taxes. So I only ended up paying $40.08. I have my own weight set. I've never had my own weight set. That's exciting. Okay, so I really have more to say. I feel like when you start small and you focus on like one thing to be like more intentional about, it's something that like starts to affect everything else, right? So like my first thing I thought was, okay, I need to cut the mindless scrolling because it's just not serving me. Since I've been putting so much thought into what I do on a daily basis, not overthinking, but just like thought, it's making me put thought into other areas as well. So for example, like what I'm eating, okay, not only am I doing 75 hard, so I kind of have to like plan ahead and make sure I have like meals ready to go, healthy meals, whatever, but also I just feel like I'm way more intentional about when I eat, what I eat. Okay, I want something with more like protein in the morning, so I'm a little bit fuller, things like that. And also where I spend my money. If I buy something, I make sure that the cost per use is very low, so I'm getting the best value out of it. These weights, great investment, but that means that instead of only doing Pilates videos, which I love, and the 12 through 30, like I need to do workouts using dumbbells. But I'm like really positive that I'm gonna like implement them, like I will get use out of it. I just feel like being smarter about the things you do, the things you buy, the things you consume Oh, that. Like, being intentional is a mindset, which being intentional does not mean that you can't be like spontaneous, right? Like, you can do things, you can relax, you can watch movies. Like, that's not a waste of time. I'm just saying, like, very specific things that you know are more bad for you rather than good or even neutral, right? Like, I watched a movie the other day because I was like chilling in bed, like not doing anything. That's fine. Like, you can do those mindless activities, but I just mean on the day-to-day, like cutting things that are bad, being more intentional. And like, I probably wouldn't have watched a movie if I had all this stuff I needed to do, you know, like prioritizing things as well. Off of the consumption though, I oftentimes feel like when I overconsume social media, for example, it makes me not only compare, but like forget about like who I am. That almost kind of sounds cheesy, but I feel like the less I'm scrolling on TikTok, the more I am sure about myself and like more confident. For some reason, I almost feel like this doesn't apply to YouTube though, because I have YouTube videos on like all day long, but oftentimes they're educational or they're like my friends that I watch their videos, but just by watching their videos, like because there's someone that I choose to subscribe to, there's someone I like, and I don't necessarily compare myself to them. I don't know, I'm just very like choosy and picky about who I follow. But so kind of summarizing some tips, I think being really intentional about what you consume. Big recommendation for podcasts is the Mindset Mentor. They're short podcast episodes. I normally like long ones, but that's fine. But they're really great podcasts. Like, it just puts you in such a positive mindset. And like, I feel like when I'm listening to it, I really try to think about how I can relate it to my life. Also, I told you I'm reading Atomic Habits. I love it so far. It's so good. Like I said, planning my days. Things don't always go according to plan. No, of course they don't. But it just helps when I set up my days with the intention for success. And then when I start veering off, I try to catch myself best I can. Of course, there's always room for error because that's just happened. You know, we're human. Stopping overconsumption, whether this be purchasing things. Oftentimes when I buy something out on a whim, I don't use it. Like, it's not useful. If I want something, I will do research on it. I'll read all the reviews. I'll compare prices from Amazon to Target to whatever, if it's like a generic item. But I am being so much smarter about what I spend my money on. And if I buy something, I use it. You know, like, I make sure to get my use out of it. Like, I, as well as you, like, we work hard for our money. Like, don't just be wasting all this money, you know? And like I said, when I consume less almost like media, I feel like I can be myself more. So I feel like those are some good tips overall, kind of summarizing. But please don't think that I'm telling you that you have to grind 24/7, because no, you need to rest. It's just cutting out the things that don't serve you, that are just time wasters, or that make you feel bad about yourself. Like, we don't have time for that in 2023. Just focus so hard on yourself. Focus on yourself. What can you do to make yourself feel good? Like, I'm just such a feel-good person. I don't know, maybe it's the book, maybe it's 75 Hard, whatever, that's like really helping me be extra intentional. But I just love that term, kind of just like being intentional. I think it can just do so much good for you. I didn't make an outro, but I was just feeling so passionate about this topic. I really hope it resonated with you. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what other videos you'd like to see from me. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you in my next one.